You have to find what your motivating factor is. When I started my sales career several years ago, my first assignment was a South Side territory. And I loved it. But what I quickly found, the reputation of the South Side Chicago is not always the greatest among certain groups. Certain people look down upon the South Side Chicago. They don't realize the talent and potential like we have in this room. So therefore, I made it my duty that I wanted the whole nation to see that a South Side territory could be a huge producer, a great contributor to this company, a winning territory for the whole nation to see. That wasn't my only motivating factor. My second motivating factor was my hometown. A lot of you all know I'm from Gary, Indiana. And guess what? The reputation over there is even worse. Murder capital of the world. So now I have two motivating factors. I wanted the whole world to see that a gentleman from Gary, Indiana, working a South Side territory could be extremely professional, thorough, productive, and a winner, all at the same time. And I say the whole nation because it felt good when vice presidents from New York would call and say, hey, I've been watching you. I see your progress. I see your numbers. You're doing extremely well. Come work with me. But this type of thing started happening. We were having more fun, which is the third element, than we were ever having before. You see, we're actually all in the same business. We're all in sales. And some people nod their head, and some people are a little curious about that. They say, I'm in medicine. I'm in healthcare. Well, does anyone know the basic definition of sales? Anyone? Anyone? We don't have to be shy. It's open here.
Being proud of your product.
Being proud of your product. That's a key point. The basic definition of sales is anything done to attempt to influence someone else. For instance, did anyone in this room interview for their job? Anyone? If everyone interviewed for your job, you sold that interviewer on the fact that you were the best person for this position. And that's why we're all here, a talented group of people. Everything, nothing moves without a sale. So we're all in sales. And your product is Advocate, South Holland, Healthcare. And your customers are your patients. It's clear and it's simple. Every time you smile, every time you welcome them warmly, you're selling Advocate, South Holland, Healthcare. Now we talk about belief. And does anyone know what holiday is coming this weekend?
Labor Day.
Labor Day weekend. And even though I'm full of energy this morning, it actually makes me a bit sad. Because Labor Day marks what?
End of summer.
I'm surprised nobody said stop wearing white. I know how y'all like to support that letter, that white letter. That's right, the end of summer. And it saddens me because I love the summertime. Why? Because there's nothing like a bright, clear, sunny summer day. It's warm, not too hot, not too cool, with a slight breeze so I can go ride my bicycle. And one such summer day, I'm riding up on US 30. As I'm riding up on US 30, right there Lincoln Highway, I stop at the Speedway. When I come out of the Speedway, I notice some strange looking colors between the bushes. As I get closer, I notice it's a young lady. As I get closer, I notice she's actually laying on her back. As I get closer, I notice there's a scooter laying on top of her and her leg is cut. As I get closer, I notice the scooter is a handicap scooter, much like some of your seniors ride when they come in here. So immediately I rush over. I pick the scooter up off of her. So since I notice it's a handicap scooter, I ask her, can she stand and can she walk? And she says, barely. As I talked to her more, I noticed not only is she physically handicapped, but she's also mentally handicapped. Keeping in mind, too, that she's somewhat heavyset. So therefore, we have to devise a plan as to how I'm able to get her up. So she's laid out between the bushes. I pull the scooter up, I turn the scooter off, I sit the scooter down. So I get her to plant her feet. I'm able to bridge her weight in, so now she's not as heavy. I pull her hands up and I get her up. Now we have to get her on the scooter because she can barely stand. So we get her to bend her knees. I'm able to plant one foot over and then the other, and she's on the scooter. She turns it on, rides off, and the only thing she says is, I'm not going to tell my mother I failed. Never said thank you. Do you think I wanted her to say thank you?
Nope.
God put me there for a reason. That young lady did more for me than I can ever have done for her in my whole lifetime. Do you know how good I felt after that? I felt like a hero. But something like that is only going to happen to me once, maybe every couple of years. I'm not as fortunate as you all are. You all have the opportunity to be a hero every time you come to work. Think about that little old lady who may have been diagnosed with just a slight high blood pressure, but she's concerned because her older sister passed away from complications from cardiovascular disease. Do you know how far your smile goes for her? Think about that elderly man who was diagnosed with diabetes, but he's worried about his uncle who had to have his leg amputated from complications from diabetes. The reassurance that you give makes you a hero every day. This goes a long way, especially for that man that's 60 years old, thinking he's at his prime, and he just found out he has prostate cancer. But your listening ear goes so much further. That one extra second of listening can make the difference in his life. That's belief. If there's any question about belief in what you all do, it's erased from the things that we just talked about. And we talked about being the best and having the best. You all are supposed to know that if I send this patient to Nicole and Dr. Brown, that's it! There is no better tandem.
I agree.
This is the best in the world. They've been together since residency. And if you go back as far as residency, well, we won't talk about the age there or anything like that.
Right.
But they've been together for a while. You know that's the best team there is. You look that patient in the eye and say, you're in good hands now. That's belief. And remember we talked about having a motivating factor. Does anyone here know Dr. Pat Birch? Mm-hmm. To some of you all who don't know Dr. Pat Birch, she's an internist over at Advocate Family Medicine. I'm sorry, over at Advocate Southeast. And one day I went in to visit Dr. Birch, and as soon as I walked through the door, she says, hey, Dion, come here. I said, sure, Dr. Birch. Do you have any patient education information you can give me right now? I said, I'm sorry, Dr. Birch, I don't have any with me, but I believe I can order it as soon as possible. She said, well, how soon can you get it in? I said, I believe I can get it within a week. She said, well, as soon as you get it, please bring it to me. And I had to ask her. Dr. Birch is usually a lot cooler. So I said, Dr. Birch, is anything wrong? Is everything okay? I've never seen you so urgent before. She said, look at this, Dion. She pulls out an Advocate newsletter. At the bottom of the newsletter is a ranking of all the Advocate healthcare centers in Chicago, according to customer service. And she said, look at us. You know we can be doing better than this. So I want anything I can to better help service my customers.